So, I for one am gonna be playing Outlast 2. But, well, and also, I'll also be telling a story. But, as you may know, I am fucking terrible at video games. So, I for one am most definitely not going to get far. Obviously, it's just skill issue. And, well, not really by choice either. Since, well, even if I tried, it wouldn't be by choice. But this time it is by choice. Because I am just going to be sticking around in a campfire, telling stories. But not just any campfire. As you may presume, it is going to be the campfire of the helicopter wreckage. And maybe some B-roll of the moon. Honestly, depends on how bright the moon is, we'll see. But that is most of the video that's gonna be, and maybe me trying to get down to the helicopter, which is honestly the biggest challenge I think in this fucking game so far. Because holy hell is it hard trying to get down the mountain without dying. Like, sometimes a character doesn't want to jump, and sometimes it does, and whenever it fucking does, it just leaps to his fucking death. Like, what the hell? But that's enough of my frustrations for now. Anyways, on to the story. Alright. Story time starts right about now. Jessica was going out to the store late one night for some groceries and just to get out of the house because she's been spending her time inside her own house, secluded from the outside world for the past week or so. Just enjoying her time away from people. A little decompress as her main job could get a little bit overwhelming sometimes, and, well, let's be honest here. People really are just that fucking annoying where you just want to seclude yourself from everybody sometimes. But her job has, let's say it's a little bit extra. Has to do some things that doesn't really let her sleep all that well at night. Not because of her unconsciousness, but well because late nights are extremely late and having to deal with a lot of people at the same time just doesn't really make for great math, in all honesty. So, she goes late to the store, looks around. The store is basically empty with half the lights working right about this time of evening. And the co-workers are already about, well, not co-workers, but workers are already ready to clock out right now. And, well, she has a few items in mind, but just doesn't feel like going home just yet. As a change of scenery does a person well after some time. Well, While she's there, she notices that there is a box of cookies on sale and decides to pick them up and throw them in her cart. While walking, thinks of it as a little extra treat to herself for the long, hard day that she's had to endure. Well, past week, actually. That she's had to endure. Since she works. Fuck, I could jump. That button. Oh, never mind. Past week that she's had to endure. Since she works X amount of days on and off. And 7 days off. Man. Okay, so. See, now it's this bloody ledge right here that's honestly giving me the most problems. And, well, back to the story. I honestly also cannot jump as well. But doesn't allow me to fucking move forward. Can I? Nope, I cannot go back up. Alright, I can see from here. And as she grabs her items and throws them in a cart, she heads to the checkout, which is, by now there's only one person at the cash register. And, well, she's already about halfway done counting her drawer and hoping that the customer doesn't pay in cash. Scans her items. As she's scanning, Jessica says, "Late night, huh?" Cashier agrees with the swift smile and, "Yeah, I'm just gonna stay at the top." Honestly, don't like that angle. Anyway, back to the bloody story. The cashier smiles politely and says, whenever she's finished scanning her item, says, "Will that be cash or card?" Jessica pays with card and grabs her bags and heads out the store to her house. From which she unloads the groceries, throws them on the table, and starts to open up the box of cookies that she picked up on sale. Turns on the TV and starts munching on them for about a couple hours, about one at a time, until she falls asleep for the night. Next morning, she wakes up in a panic, realizing that she may just be late for work because the sun is out. As she gets up panicking, looking for the time, she notices that she only has like about 30 minutes left, which is, in all honesty, not that great. But not letting time stop her, of course. She pushes forward, hurry up, gets dressed, and only makes it to work with the belt while being about 15 minutes late to work. Happy with herself that she does, her boss still nags on her saying that she was 15 minutes late and needs to stay like about 2 hours later and work overtime for being so late. Disgruntled, but still not all that yet discouraged, Jessica decides to get to work, typing away at her computer with the new story that she has this week. On some random person or another. As late night comes, she notices that a janitor is working late around the office. Huh. And decides to grab a pen and throw it in his direction. Jessica, grabbing a pencil, decides to walk over and say, "Oops, I must have dropped this," while bumping into the janitor. As the janitor reaches over and picks up the pen, she immediately stabs him in the back of the neck, right in between the vertebrae, poking out at the other side of his throat. The sharpened pencil, now with some blood on it, is sticking out through the janitor's throat. Disgruntled at such the mess that she made at a exuberating force, well, overwhelming force that she had put into the stab. Disgruntled, she decides, hey, what about there it is? Wait, there it is. Disgruntled and really disappointed herself for making such a careless mistake and realizing that she has to clean up her mess later. But happy that she finally got that itch out, she decides to clean up the mess and throw the janitor into his waste bin with his head still sticking out, and decides to push his cart into a really dark part of the office in case if any workers come by late, so that she may have time to plan before anything else happens. As she finishes her late night work, Jessica cleans up the rest of the mess with the cloth and some bleach that she found in the janitor's cart. Make sure to clean her pencil and make sure everything's not all that, nothing's really sticking out, and decides to take the cart with her down the elevator. Being happy that there isn't any cameras in this office, she decides to wheel it out through the back of the company's back door and throw the janitor's body into a bin. Wheels the cart back inside and just leaves it in the middle of a lobby. Satisfied with her work, she decides to wipe off her fingerprints from the cart and leave the building. The next day, everything goes calmly until about midday, whenever she notices there's a noise right outside the office. Looks like somebody must have discovered her handiwork from the other night. Well, seeing that everybody's, from Jessica's point of view, seeing that everybody's admiring her handiwork, she decides to happily go to the break room and get a coffee among all the chatter and gossip. A couple hours later, it didn't take long for the police to ID the victim, as it was a janitor from the building next door. The police asked the manager of said building a couple of questions, and everybody else who was working that night. As they turned to Jessica, as the manager told them that she was working the night, they asked her a few questions. Trying not to be suspicious, Jessica answers them earnestly, saying that she just worked late night and barely even saw him. Last she saw, he was still alive, the usual script, and has no idea what happened to him. Police, satisfied with their answers, walks away, and the ambulance drags off the body. Drags off the body before lunch ends. As the now alleyway is marked up with yellow tape, chalk outlines, and a couple of markers. The manager holds a meeting for everyone, saying not to go home too late and to have a work buddy to hopefully keep everyone safe and maybe not to increase the kill count. Since, well, he just wants to take precaution. As I guess any good boss should. 5 hours later, now evening, Jessica finished with typing up her 5th story for the day. Decides to head home, knowing that maybe she'll get 3 published in the 500 that she wrote this week. but it doesn't matter to her. Because she still gets paid by the end of the day. And it's not a paper company that honestly sells by this published story, but sells by how much you write, which is still good in that practice. Jessica goes home, enters the front of her door, turns on the lights to the living room, moves a painting about 50 degrees clockwise to open a secret door to the basement, of which down there she has various tools. Some that needs cleaning since they are stained in a lot of blood. Others that are so clean that you could practically see a reflection off of them. But down in this particular basement, there is also something that even roused Jessica to the very core. It is something that she has done a lot of research in the past, but has since given up and decided to examine it more. From what it eats, to how it lives, to how it breathes, and is honestly saving dissection for whenever it dies. Or maybe, hopefully, she won't kill it, but will try to cut off some parts without impeding its life. So far, whenever she first met the thing, she severed a couple of its limbs. None of them have grown back since. But the decomposition of the meat and the taste suggests that it isn't edible, but it isn't actually mammal or any other animal that lives on this earth. Surprised, she looked around wherever she first found it to see if she could find a spaceship or a craft of any kind that may have led this being to this planet, or any wreckage of any sort, but none, nor has any men in black or any secret agency has since knocked on her door, which makes this unidentified being very peculiar. Since its blood is purple, its raw meat is orange, and its skin tone varies depending on which body part you see. Doesn't really seem to have a head, but it has about 50 or so different limbs that can be arms or legs depending on how you look at it, and maybe depending on how the creature stands. doesn't have an outer shell, so it's not exactly an insect, but its meat isn't exactly soft as you would expect from a living organism. As she takes notes of this week's findings, she has written down that it could also breathe underwater. It is not very flammable, can withstand temperatures below freezing cold without getting sick, and temperatures extremely hot without burning or feeling uncomfortable at all. In all honesty, it just feels like that this thing let itself be chained up. And instead of Jessica keeping it as hostage, it's really keeping her as a pet. As she does feed it, and it does live in the basement, she has no real means of, in all honesty, containing it, or keeping it in line or check if it decides to run rampant. But the silver lining is it can be cut, but she doesn't really know where or how to kill it if the time may come where she may need to put it down. The only thing that really does seem to work on this being are knives, sharp objects, since bullets, piercing bullets, explosive rounds don't exactly work. They somehow just don't get to where it needs to be, as the being does have hard yet soft skin, which in all honesty stops the bullets and rounds of various calibers from entering and piercing what seems to be, or what she can guess as, vital organs. As some of the spots on this being may be may have the necessary organs to keep it still living right behind them, as she would, is what she hypothesized, but has no real way of checking because she fears that the thing might retaliate in fear of living for its life. But there is one silver lining, and that is hopefully some tranquilizers that she got that is highly potent enough to knock out an elephant may just put it to sleep, that she finally got after waiting months on end for him. And after injecting the being, she noticed that it is extreme. Wait, no. After injecting it, she noticed that the thing's breaths, however, breathe, got slower over time. And slowly stopped. Not really knowing the doses that she should have went for, decided to see if it was still alive and or warm, I guess, since it still has that going for it. Folding her hand over the being's body, she felt something thumping really fast and hard, guessing that that was its heart or heart-like organ. She noticed that that was an irregularly fast heartbeat, but that wasn't all. Ventricles, or the being's veins, started pulsating throughout its entire body. Noticing that something wasn't right, she decides to get the adrenaline shot out that came with the elephant tranquilizers to maybe help it from its reduced state. As well, if one thing does that, the opposite should help or be better. As she stabs in what thinks is the heart, and before she could press down on the push button, the thing, to inject the adrenaline shot, the creature knocks her off of it with one of its limbs, throwing her to the wall. The creature, now feeling a surge amount of strength, takes the adrenaline shot out from the one spot, I'm just gonna call it, that it was in. And runs upstairs, breaking down the door. Out through the front of the house. From there it looks up at the sky. Opens its mouth from its seamless skin, revealing thousands upon thousands of sharp, jagged teeth. Opening its eyes from the top of its body. What looks, if you could see, appear like what looks appear like the creature is smiling and drooling at the same time at the night sky. Happy that it's now energetic and excruciatingly hungry from being underfed for the past few months. Decides to go to where the lights are. Breaking open the creature's back. Well, from what appears to be the back. The creature spouts wings and flies into the innermost parts of the city, to where it appears that there is a show going on, or some event, in all honesty. From right there, the creature eats, while swoops down and takes a big bite. Big bite out of the first person it sees. First moving thing it sees. Frightened, the person standing right next to the one that just got half of its body bitten off screams and proceeds to get chomped on as well. Now, a whole crowd in a panic screams and runs in terror as the thing is eating, slicing, and, well, having a feast, as I should say, on anything and everything that's in its way. Whenever the police arrive to the scene to try to quell the havoc, they whip out their pistols and immediately begin firing into the crowd, trying to hit the creature. But they only do more damage than good, as the creature is not exactly bulletproof, but bullet resistant, and only makes it even more enraged as it is being bothered while eating from what it sees. During right about this time, about 30 minutes came by from all the carnage in. Well, I guess the police are dead by now. And the crowd is either dispersed or lying in pools of blood. Well, dispersing, I should say. Jessica wakes up with blood dripping from her head, back aching, feeling like that she may have broken a rib or two. Slowly gets up and panics because she noticed that the thing hiding in her basement that she has been feeding is now gone. Terrified, shaking, she decides to grab whatever she can from the basement that is not stained and goes out to see where the creature may be having its midnight snack at. Hoping that just maybe it hasn't been noticed by anybody. As she drives around, she sees a lot of cop cars rushing towards a scene of which she decides to follow, because that may be it. Noticing that there's a chopper in the sky where the cops are going, her fear only grows even more. About 50 meters away, she notices that the police have a standoff with the creature, and she cannot enter any further, as they have not managed to put a blockade about 100 meters out as of yet. Jessica, now calm at the sight, as the police have no idea what they're doing, and they're waiting for it, with the creature lying now in a pool of blood, satisfied, now full, sleeping, and does not look to be disturbed at all. Police urges everyone that is now crowded at the area to please be calm, to try not to disturb the creature, as the chief at the scene right about now says for everybody there to hold their fire. Satisfied by the looks of everything, Jessica decides to leave the scene. As of now, by the looks of it, she has 2 doors to fix and work in the morning. Right about now, she sees this as not her problem and goes home to go to bed. As she goes home, she looks to see if there's any stores still open for the new door. Maybe Lowe's or Home Depot might be still open this time of night. But sadly not. Disgruntled, she decides to stay at her neighbor's house. Because, well, both doors are broken. And even if she tried to put one together from the 2 that are in pieces, it would take her a long time, and it is honestly not worth the effort. And, well, yeah. Once she gets into her neighborhood, she notices that a couple of her neighbors are awake. Minus the whole neighborhood that is basically in an uproar. Once she gets to her neighbors, she asks them to ask if she could stay at their place for the night because of so-and-so excuse that she made up that the doors are broken to her house. Agreeing, the neighbors let her in and sleep on the couch. Jessica gets up earlier than usual to go to a store to buy a couple of doors. One heavier set one that's a little bit more expensive, and another one that looks like it's meant to be a door for a safe, and not one of those old-timey safes, one of those new ones. Both doors are extremely expensive, but she's been saving up for a while and can pay for it because why not? Jessica, now with both doors, decides to install them. The more expensive one will be for the one that leads to the basement, and the other heavy set one will be for the front door, hoping that maybe it will stop the monster from, or any other thing that she finds, from breaking through next time, as she probably should have made the purchase earlier. But then that might be a bigger hole, or she might be dead, so who's to say? Couple hours later, Jessica at work now hears the gossip that a monster was running around earlier that night, and some guys from what looked like what appeared to be from the CIA managed to haul it into a huge metal truck with the help of a net from the helicopter above. Relieved that might be hearing the news and relieved that might be locked down somewhere or locked up somewhere. Jessica decides to keep on typing at her work station while pondering who her next victim could be, as surely it can't be anybody from her work this time around. And times in this town's security may have gone up a bit just because of the occurrence. Unhappy that the monster had gone out because now she's realizing that it may have to be somebody that is out of town. But not discouraged enough to actually still go there. Go for a new place. As it is a new killing ground. About 10 hours later, Jessica gets home, covered in blood, as she took her anger and frustration out on her previous victim, since she had a lot to work out from her test subject escaping, to now this place may just be crawling with cops, since there's a murder in an alien species has killed a quarter of its population. But happy that the town that she found is healthy, but still cautious, and is not all that tense though, but still killable nonetheless. As Jessica gets home, she hears a tapping coming from the basement. One that she only heard about a couple months ago, whenever she first sliced off the monster's first appendage, while she was still trying to study it. Very wary of the distinct tapping, she decides to head down into the basement, very slowly, creeping down each step. And as she turns on the lights, she notices that the thing has somehow gone back into her house without disturbing anything. Flabbergasted, but yet somewhat excited, screams, questioning how it got there in the first place. Taking a look at it, wondering why it seems to be shivering, hoping that it's only in happiness and not in the fact that it wants to kill her as well, have her for her next meal. She looks around on its body to see what the scientists have done. Noticing that there is a huge scar on its side. Well, a couple of scars. She decides to grab one of her knives and open the thing up, because if they could do it and probably still be alive, why wouldn't she be able to? As soon as she grabs a knife, the monster stops shivering. Shite. Wrong thing. The monster stops shivering. And wait, god damn it. Need to get back right at the angle. I think I was right about here. Yep. Right about here, right? Right there. Disgruntled at everything. The way the monster stopped shivering, she decided maybe it would be best to leave the new scars alone, as she had the tremendous feeling that she was about to be killed if she poked the monster even more. Leaving now the basement, and doesn't know whether to feel happy or scared that somebody may just be knocking on, breaking down her new doors, decides to go to bed, as she can neither kill the monster or get rid of it now, since it decided to be her new owner, or its new owner. Relationship is still pending. The end. For now. Maybe. Probably. Comment, like, and subscribe. It would really help out the channel. And I guess that's it for this fucking video. Well, till next time. See ya, guys.